3, 2, 1. Log Talk Radio. Well, it's time for Blast Off. So here it is. It is the opening of December, and what a treat I have for you. This is your host, Dr. Deb Carlin, with my wonderful, beautiful friend, Dr. Joy Martina. Hello to you. How are you today?
I'm really well. I had a bit of a shock moment today, discovering that one of my friend's dad has passed away. So I've been doing a lot of grief counseling these last weeks, and I feel so honored to be here and to be speaking about joy, even, in times of grief and transitions. We're still here.
There's something very interesting about the topic of grief, because even in grief, if what we can really sincerely do is find the joy of it and celebrate, then that's incredibly sacred. And I want to tell you one brief little story, just a small vignette. It was 2009. My father had passed in 1995, and my mother had held on because I dumbed it down as much as I possibly could in life. So she really believed how much I needed her. I mean, I didn't know how to boil eggs or do laundry or like put the sheets on the bed. I just told her I just couldn't pull it together. And so she had to stick around and retrain me. So it was fun, and it was funny, and it was frivolous, and it ran deep. But when she died, she had been ill, and we had done a lot of things that were really spectacular to really get her spirit and get everything pulled together. And when she died, it was April 4th, and it was in the morning. And I remember I cried so hard, and it was so awful. And I cried all day April 4th and all day April 5th. And then here's what I knew: by the grace of God, by the grace of the universe and all the energy, I knew that at midnight on April 5th, I needed to round the bend and flip into joy, because April 6th is my birthday. So if in my grief and if in my loss, I was crying that I had lost my mother, which I had lost her here, but I'd never really lost her. We never lose anyone. They're just behind a veil that we can, allow the breathability for. And so I did, because I thought and felt and really believed it. It just came through me. If you really love, then you celebrate what you have and have known and have been grateful for, and you step out of the way of your own personal stuff and anguish, and you find the joy of it. And so every year, that is my birthday, is remembering her on the 4th and really going into a magnificent celebration, because really on the 4th and the 5th, I was living in the contrast of the 6th. And so I had to let the joyfulness come through.
It's a beautiful story. I like that.
Well,
I noticed that my friend found a lot of consolence, maybe even in the idea of, that grief has its stages. So I told her the 5 stages of grief, and I said, first we're in shock. First it's like, oh my God, what's happened? Then we'll deny it. Denial, step 2, and these steps are not one after the other. It can often come and go, and then after denial often comes anger. So anger at, oh, why was that person taken away from me, or why am I missing this now? And then after anger, we'll start bargaining. So, okay, what if I'll go vegan, I'll do this, but only if only. And then after the bargaining phase, we usually fall into depression. And that's when grief really hits, I think.
It does.
But after that depression, we slowly flow into acceptance. And that's when I think healing can actually happen. And, I think just being aware of these 5 stages gives yourself the opportunity to check in with yourself every now and again and say, okay, where am I right now? What am I feeling? And know that it will pass. You've got to move through them all. And once you've done that, it becomes bearable.
Don't you think that there's so much wisdom in those stages? I mean, those stages are important for us to know at a time like what you're describing, when we're in loss. But quite frankly, if we would allow that tumble to be a part of our reality in our everyday life throughout all kinds of situations, I mean, related to friendship, to work, to money, to our own health, first it's always shock. What? And then the
Even
body,
good stuff can be shocking, right?
yes, exactly. We do cycle, and that's such a vital part of the message. And then always returning to joyfulness, because that's what we're here to experience in this body, in this life, in this dimension, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So
Wow.
this is the K factor, where K equals kindness, and the factors are all the things that lead to it. And the most kind thing that I can think of to do every single day is to bring you someone wonderful who I have a great energy and connection with. And we want to do things to infiltrate your entire world and reality and being with what's going to be really helpful. So here's what the write-up was for us for today is: this is the place for the real news. The news about you, your well-being, your state of mind, your comfort inside your own body, and how best to achieve it. And why is this the place for the news? Because in a world right now, not just the United States, but I'm in the United States, Joy is over in Europe, and the news around the planet, if you turn on an internet channel or a television channel, is it's a dark cloud of gloom and
And
doom.
it's the same dark cloud.
Is, and it's just floating. So when we talk about climate change, this is the climate change right here. And
That's right. We're your beams of sunshine for right
yes,
now.
and fresh
I'm sitting
air.
in a real foggy environment right now, but I feel
Yes,
that just talking about joy brings us that bit of light, doesn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to give us a little sweet treat here this morning with just a momentary screen share, because every single day we have this marvelous opportunity, right? And the marvelous opportunity is to view something. Can you see the screen at this point?
It's coming. Yes. Oh, wow. Look at that light.
Now, this is my morning every day. This is out my bedroom window.
Amazing.
And so I arise, and no matter what my frame of mind is, you know, when you first open your eyes, if I start to think anything that it is what I call cockadoodle doo and not what I'm aiming for, I look out and I think, well, I have gratitude because look, the night is parting way for the day, the break of day, the opening of the day. And look at the color and look at the sun. And the sun is coming out to warm us and enrich us. And I think warm our heart, warm our spirit, and bring us into a really happy, healthy place. So,
Thank you for that. And I love how it's sort of segueing into this whole topic of light. So I think,
yeah,
you know, if we talk about joy and happiness and love and all those good things, it's all about how much light can we hold in our bodies. So I love Jacob Lieberman's work. And he's done such great research on really being super scientific about that we're light beings, right? We are beings made out of light. So we need light. We need light not only, you know, because it's nice, but we literally need it to survive. And he actually says you have to be outside, you know, exposing your body to sunlight for 3 hours a day for optimum health.
I
Now,
love
how many of us do that? 3 hours is quite a lot.
it is.
And then think how amazing do we feel if we've been out for 3 hours?
I do.
So
Yeah. And so, who is it that you mentioned?
Dr. Jacob Lieberman,
Uh-huh. I don't know.
great author, doctor, you know, an eye doctor actually, and he got into this whole topic of, you know, researching how do we actually see, and what we think we see is very different than how we actually see. So it's a beautiful book, and I think it really hammers down on that topic of we need to connect to the light. We need to keep reconnecting to the light, because when we do, then light really guides us. It's just about following the light then. And then I feel, at least I've noticed, life becomes more effortless then, a tad more graceful.
Mm. You know, I noticed now it's dark here. So the sun, that was a picture from yesterday. And so the sun has not risen here yet.
You've
And
got so many candles going on in your background.
exactly, I do. And I have all my light on rheostat so I can make it brighter and dimmer, softer. And I too love the light. Like my entire place, I don't have a window covering on anything, but privacy is not an issue because the water is my neighbor.
Mm.
But I love the idea of awakening to natural light. And I'm always curious about people who darken it and they want, I want curtains, I want them shut. I want blackout curtains. I
Well,
don't
I have that in my bedroom. I'll be
do
that
you?
honest. Yes, I sleep best in an icy cold cave. That's me. I need lots of fresh air, but it's going to be cold and dark.
It is so funny. But
Yep.
but but when you arise, you really want the light.
Oh yeah, I'll draw the curtains right away and get outside. That's what I do.
Yeah.
But for the actual part of sleeping, I like it nice and dark. Even a little LED light will totally piss me off. I'm
Totally.
someone who travels with gaffer tape, and I'll stick shut any light.
But you know what? I now tell me more about that because what I keep hearing is through our eyelids, our brain is disturbed by that. So you're being ticked off is really because you've sensitized yourself to what's much healthier.
Yeah, I mean, I always used to have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
Sleep is really sacred to me, and I function well when I sleep a good solid 8 hours. I can do with
Really?
less, but I'm happiest with 8.
Okay.
And I spent years being an absolute insomniac. When my boys were born, I was really young. I was 23 years old, my first baby, and holy moly, I had no idea what was going to hit me. This whole waking up at night business, oh, it completely brought havoc to my sleep rhythms and my ability to let go. I was just so high strung, so anxious all the time, that I really had to learn how to sleep.
Oh,
And now I'm so grateful because it actually took me, actually not being able to sleep brought me my husband. Because, a friend of mine then years into this gave me a book and CD by Dr. Martina. It's called The Missing Link. And I read the book and I thought, okay, it's quite nice. And in the back, there was the CD. And I put the CD on and I just loved the voice. It just did something to me. I could sleep. So I had this on the whole time, not even knowing who this guy was. And then, yeah, about a year later, I visited one of his workshops and we fell in love and we're now married, right? So on that path, I discovered that, going to sleep and the whole hours of sleep are sacred hours. And we can, it's more important the quality of sleep than the length of sleep often. And I was just noticing that I had such a hard time shutting down my brain. I remember thinking if only I could just whack my head with something and stop thinking, because that's how I was, just thinking all the time. And yeah, and due to that, I became a hypnotist because I couldn't stand the meditation CDs that I found. I tried them all,
yeah.
or I tried a lot.
Yeah.
And something would always tick me off. There would be a
Yeah.
message, a voice or something where I say, nah,
I'm
out,
aligned.
done.
Yes, I'm aligned with that. Yeah. Now, by the
So,
way, look who's on the chair over your shoulder.
Mr.
DJ.
DJ.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
So those of you who are getting the audio version of this, friends, I'm sorry. You got to also come and get the video version of this on our YouTube channel, which, by the way, has been rebranded from Deborah Carlin over to Partners in Excellence Media. Because this is not all about me. This is about partnering with people and promoting everybody who is here. Why? Because I am a true believer. Like with Joy, when Joy and I met, I immediately thought to myself, I don't know when, I don't know how, but this is going to be a great relationship.
And so it was, right? So it is.
Exactly. And so, as a matter of fact, I wanted to ask you about this. This is really neat. So this morning I'm going through my mail, and can I ask you about your email from the 30-day challenge?
Sure.
All right. So I'm looking at this, and here's one of the things I love about having Joy here on this show is this really is the news. The news is about how are you going to live your life and do it. What is it that you're going to do for you that's going to be really good and really healthy? So Joy and I are on one another's e-lists and friends on Facebook, and I'm a member of the Joy Tribe, which I'll tell you, every time I'm there, there's a little link, that's a little message at the top that says invite. And I'm going through inviting my friends thinking, you need more joy and you need more joy, you need more joy. And this morning, I come in here into my email and there is a message, how to remove the mental and emotional blocks. And I'm thinking, yes. And the email reads that there's a 30-day challenge starting January 4th, quantum materialization. So I click on it and I'm thinking, join us. Join us. Then there's a picture of this handsome guy. What's his name? Roy Martina. And I click on the picture and I come into this, space that is dramatic and yet comforting. And as a matter of fact, look, it looks like the office that I'm in. It's this dark background with this nice bright light. And really the message here is about making 2021 your best year ever. So there's a countdown, there's a join the 30-day challenge. So Joy, do you know anything about this?
I happen to, yes. Well, you see, I think what Ryan and I have become experts in is helping people do just that, remove the subconscious blocks that are stopping us from really creating the life that we deserve and that we desire.
Yeah.
And because they're subconscious, we're not consciously aware of them. So by working, with thousands of people for so many years, I mean, for me, it's 20 years, for Ryan, it's 40 years. We just know that the basic blocks that most people have. And, we all think we're so incredibly unique, and we are. Yet, the blocks on abundance, the blocks on health, the blocks on materializing or being that manifestor that we want to be are very similar. And in this program, we're doing 30 days of really clearing every block that we could possibly think of that is stored in our energy centers, because you see, our body does store imprints, stores moments of shock and trauma. And if we are not aware of them, those imprints will actually prevent us from creating the life that we want to. So it's a really fun challenge that we did one just recently in October for Roy's birthday, end of September. And it was an incredible success. We just, put everything in there that we know works, from brain trainings to meditations to tapping sequences to, all the tools and techniques that we love teaching. And, the results of the people that joined the last challenge were incredible. It was truly magical because, in the Facebook group, there was a lot of communication going on and people were sharing all their quantum jumps they were making. And it's just so inspiring if we do it as a group. Because you see, it's then, that one mind, lots of minds getting together with that one goal. And that's where alchemy happens. So I'm excited to be doing that for 2021 to really make sure that we start out the year the way we want to.
Yeah, we really need to. And we also, I think the timing of this is really perfect because it's just right after Thanksgiving. And people are, at least in America, very upset about Thanksgiving. And it was just so alarmingly different and confined and constrained. So people are looking for hope. And people are now talking about Hanukkah coming up and Christmas coming up, and what's that going to be like for us? And then people are anticipating, well, it's got to be better in 2021. And my thought is, I'll go with that. But then you popped out with this plan, and my thought about this is, and by the way, everybody who is listening on the audio channel of this, I really invite you to go later today to YouTube, to Partners in Excellence Media, and you're going to see the video of this. And on the video, you're going to see, and you can stop and start the video, you're going to see the email, the link from the email and the scroll. So you can go and you can join, you can sign up and do this. And, this is not an infomercial. This is a sincere, heartfelt invitation, because The only reason that I am on this channel is because in 2020, and I started this program about a decade ago, but in 2020, I started getting a little weird. I'm bouncing around my home by myself and I'm thinking, what day is it? And I want to see somebody. I want to have my buddies around. And where are they? Well, you were in the Carolinas and then you were going to Europe, and I'm thinking, okay, and I have to get people in California and New York and Texas and Spain and Italy and Brazil, and I'm thinking, I'm never gonna see anybody. So I have to bring them here virtually. And bringing people in here virtually means I only want the people who are going to be the best energy, and not just the best energy for me. Otherwise, it would just be the two of us being on a Zoom call, you know? But the best energy for all the people. And you know what's happened during this whole thing? Since July, when I started this channel, my numbers have gone from hovering around 700,000, if you do a Google search, to about 1.5 million, to then, that was in a month. And then I do it intermittently and I see it go up to about 2 million. Now I'm up like in 4 million plus. And I'm thinking,
That's a quantum jump.
it's
right there.
huge. That's right. And why is it? Well, because of the platforms of Blog Talk Radio pushing out the messaging. It's because of who I'm aligning with and putting our tags and our hashtags on everything. And it's also putting everything on YouTube and pushing it out that way. And people are thirsty. Okay? People are really thirsty for, I mean, in bold letters on your email, how to. Oh my God, how to. Can someone please tell us how to not feel depressed, how to not be bummed out about what's going on in the world, right?
That's right. And I think what I've noticed is that we're getting so hungry for real stuff. I mean, all of us have sat through, I don't know how many presentations where we think, okay, that was wasted. It was just a sale, or it was just this, or
Yep.
and I like that about, this whole lockdown. The good thing is that the right people are starting to connect and
Yeah.
are starting to value that connection. And in that way, we're getting, at least I feel that way. I feel I'm getting more real information. And it's not just some media selling me something. It's people sharing experience. And I love the Partners in Excellence because, we're all good at something. And if we were to only, join our forces
Yes.
more globally, and see the links we have as humankind, and as you say, let's be both, let's be human and kind, then, no fear, no virus, no, I don't know, global elite or whatever you want to believe in, can do anything. Because, if we're a strong community connected by love and shared compassion, we're always going to come out winning.
Yeah. It's interesting because my first reaction when people are telling me that they're going to move away is I'm thinking, oh no. And then in 2020, and it was the same with you. It's like, oh no. I mean, you've gone just like for 10 days or something, right? But here's the beauty of what's really happened. The beauty of what's really happened is instead of just putting my arms around the United States or just the Midwest in the United States, I really do have a much more global, not just picture, but feel. And really connecting to the Stockholm Freedom Alliance and to you and to my other friends around the planet, it feels like I can't believe we're all singing the same song. This is really amazing. It is about, and I love what you just said, human and kind. And let's really be the ultimate of kind by saying, don't hem me in. Wasn't it you and I who were saying that we love that song from the Three Wives Clubs?
You don't own me. You don't own me.
It rolls off our tongues, right? And so all of that, I think I agree with you. This year, more than ever, and you walk into all these different events online because you're looking and looking and looking, And I have gotten, well, I'll tell you what, my antennas are up so high and they're so dialed in. I can sniff out what's going to be good and what it, I'm not even walking into that.
Well, intuition is kicking in. If we trust, if we're connected to who we are, then intuition is going to guide us, or light, or whatever. I'd like to read you something.
Please.
I had the most eerie experience.
Ah.
I wrote this poem or something, I think over 7 months ago.
Okay.
It was before, no, it's longer, because it was before we moved to, I moved to Austria.
Yeah.
And I just had this, I think we talked about it in one show. I just had this voice coming through the whole time. So I started writing it all down. And yesterday I was chatting with a really dear friend of mine, and it suddenly hit me that I had manifested this person, because it's a new friend, right?
Really?
And then I thought, oh, I think I wrote something. And then I read this poem and I thought, holy moly, this is exactly how I feel, right?
Wow.
And it's not not a sexual thing. It's more a connection thing. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, the reason why I'm sharing it is it showed me how powerful it is to trust and know and put out, to state clearly what you want.
Yes.
And I often do this with coaching clients of mine who are trying to manifest, a woman, a man, or a friend in life. And I should think, because we're just talking friendship and connection, maybe someone who's listening is also thinking, well, I want connection. I don't even know who I'm going to call. So my idea is sit down in a quiet moment, get into good state, and write a letter to this person that you are yearning to meet.
Oh,
and write the letter to them as if you've already met them. Here's mine.
Okay. Oh, I love this. Okay. Get comfortable.
Okay, ready? Okay. Yearning for you is like waiting for my birthday as a child. That sense of excitement, knowing good times lie ahead, feeds my dreams with anticipation and longing. The butterflies in my belly remind me of the purpose of life, to stay present with my desire to draw you close and be at peace with what is, knowing our time will come. A moment when time shall stand still as we take in the enormity of the power that brought us together, to relish the alignment and love that it took to touch us at our very core, as we connect to the light so it may lead the way. I promise I'll breathe deeply and look you straight in the eye to stay aware of each moment and enjoy the gift of your presence no matter where you are. I commit to staying honest to myself and to you, as to honor the potential I see in you, in me. May we merge to one bright light and relinquish all thought, to explore with our hearts what it is that we are. Thank you for showing up in my life.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. And that unfolded for you.
In so many ways.
Oh.
It's not even one person. I'm having moments of connections with friends and even new friends. I'm thinking, wow, it does exist.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
put it out there, people. Take it out there and write it down.
Yes, put it out there. Absolutely. Well, where I'm living right now is exactly that. And in the midst of this year, there have been times when I've walked through this dwelling, and I've been somber, and I have just felt the heaviness of the world and of the United States and the shifting and just so many things. And I've walked through here and thought, wow, we all know it.
I know that feeling,
right? And then I've stopped. I mean, literally stopped dead in my tracks and looked around for a mirror and looked myself right in the eye in the mirror and said, who are you? Look at what you've created. You have obtained something you have always wanted since you were a child. You've talked about it. You've written about it. You've longed for it. And you finally had the courage to allow it.
Yes, and to claim it.
And to claim it. That's so true. Exactly. And so how many times, this is what drew me in to the email from you and Roy this morning about Do you want to know how to remove those blocks? Because we can envision, we can have vision boards, we can talk about it, we can meditate about it, and then it starts to come our way, and we start getting involved in, well, how's that going to happen? Well, that can't possibly be.
Well, and will always be coming from past programming. So just before the show, I was recording early morning this morning. I was recording a hypnosis session for a new training that we're doing. And in there, it was literally about, rewiring the brain to release all those limiting beliefs we pick up. Because you see, we're so programmed from day one in mom's belly, basically, right? As soon as we have a brain, it's being programmed.
Yes.
But so that means by the time I'm 47, I don't know how old you are, we've got a bunch there. And especially those first 7 years of childhood programmed us mostly. So if we go back in time, and in hypnosis, we can do that, right? In hypnosis, it doesn't matter when something happened. It could even be happening in the future. We can prep for it. The changes are huge when we just let go of one limiting belief. Because you see, one limiting belief, like let's say I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or whatever it is, it could totally mess up everything, because it's going to seep into every area of life. So I think it should be part of our education that as kids, maybe once we hit puberty, we should be allowed to have, I don't know, a month or 3 months where we clear up all the garbage, because otherwise we'll just be stacking it. And then we will be, drawing in all the experiences that we're actually projecting out. And I know this sounds confusing and woo-woo to some, but it's not. It's just neuroscience. It's and physics.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I'm going to say in your defense, and to illuminate further for our audience. Whenever it is that you're talking, Joy, and I find myself doing the same thing, and I will apologize by saying, I know that this sounds woo, but it's not. It's science. That is absolutely true. And there's nothing more woo than science. Because if you don't think that it's weird, wild, and wonderful what happens in nature, well, then, I don't know, you're watching black and white TV and you're thinking that that's not woo. How did we even get TV? I mean, how are we even on camera? This is all woo. The only thing that's not is that you can sit there and snap your fingers. And that's a little strange. How do we do that? So everything is really magical. But there's a science and a methodology to it. And one of the things that I think is so intriguing, when I watch children, and I fell in love with the Joyful Kids program and that whole approach, especially as you pulled your own joyful kid into it. Grace is joyful and delightful and hilarious, by the way, and very quiet.
She's so hilarious.
She really is. So the reality with babies, my experience with babies and toddlers, is they're so wide-eyed. They're just looking to us for everything. Most of all, our intuitive connection. The look in the eye, the breathing,
attention,
the beating of our heart. Because without that, they have no reason to be motivated to take the next breath. And we have this wonderful opportunity. I've been teaching people to massage their infants. There was a beautiful black and white book by a woman from East India that was just like a little 5x7 book called Loving Hands. And it was really baby infant massage. And you really are reassuring that little nurturing thing that it's all good. It's good touch. It's good connection. And why wouldn't we continue that? Why wouldn't we have all the children lay down the way that you do in the Joyful Kids program, and meditate and learn to love peace in self? And then by the time they're able to process letting go and unjunking, they haven't accumulated quite the amount of gunk that we've got.
It saves so much therapy.
Yes.
So much therapy. I love that you're talking about babies and toddlers. I had the most amazing conversation 2 days ago with she might be one of my favorite clients. She's 93. 93.
Yeah.
And she's an elegant, fit, amazingly super sharp lady.
I love that.
And in one of the sessions that I was doing with her, she then said, Joy, I have been working for 40 years on concepts and teachings that I have never shown anybody. And, I feel my time's running out. I want to show this to someone. So I said, well, I'm here. I want to see it. So what is it about? Anyway, I made her the promise that I will sit down with her and interview her, and she just tells me all these things, so we can really archive her legacy, so it can, it's not lost.
Love that.
And 2 days ago she was here, and we started out with her number one topic, and the number one topic is her concept, an easily doable thing of how we could help babies feel safe in this world. And her own experience came from her daughter being born prematurely, and it was, a home birth, and it was a miracle this kid survived the birth itself. Yeah. But not only did this kid survive the birth, it also survived traveling 80 kilometers to the next hospital where they finally had a, what's it called, a incubator.
Oh, yeah.
And then this baby was popped in the incubator. Anyway, good story. The girl is now a grown woman and is extremely healthy, and it's all wonderful. But she said, and then I was standing there in the hospital looking at this, and she would always say in German, there's this beautiful word called Menschlein. So Mensch is a human, and Menschlein is just a tiny human, right? And she was saying, and then I was standing there and I was looking at this tiny Menschlein, and I was thinking, this is wrong. This child is not covered. It's not held in any way. It's just lying there, sprawled out in the incubator, no blanket, nothing soft, nothing cozy. She said, this is wrong. And then she, once the baby was, out there, and she wrapped it in a cloth, sort of similar to something like this, right?
Yeah, right.
And she said, because you see, when a baby is in the womb, all sounds are filtered. It's warm, and it's always held, and it's got this beautiful color around it. And then it's plunked out into the world, where it's usually in a hospital, where it's bright white lights. There's no color. It's just noisy, and then we expect this baby to feel safe. And she said, it would be so easy if every mom could go home from the hospital with a cloth, a birth cloth or a life cloth that this baby could have to wrap around it to feel safe. And she was showing all these pictures, how all her children then had their cloth. And one would have a blue one, the other one have this sort of earthy red color. And up until the age of teenagers, that cloth would go with them, and they just hang it around them as a scarf or wrap it around their heads. And whenever they wanted to sleep, whenever they wanted to just relax, they had the cloth. I thought, this is so ingenious. And it makes so much sense. So color is really important. So for everyone listening, next time you tune in, ask yourself, what is my color for safety? What color would help me feel safe? Or what color would help me feel joy? And then maybe you just have a scarf that you wrap around yourself if you want to feel that way, because, the color therapy is a thing. And it's beautiful to be able to use something like that. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll all have different colors at home, but play with them more consciously.
Yeah. I love that. What a beautiful unfolding of a person's mind and experiences. And you're right. You're there. Take it in, drink it in, all the experiences of everything. I have a friend who's also in her 90s, Bunny, Elizabeth Herring. And she is amazing. At the age of 80, she did a trapeze act. She ran away from a wealthy family when she was 15 in St. Louis, Missouri, in Ladue, Missouri, actually. Ran away with the circus, went to Barnum and Bailey and rode the elephants, and had this life as a trapeze artist and as an elephant rider, married a cowboy in Wyoming, and then came back to St. Louis, has got this huge family farm. And she's got a full head of her own hair, all her own teeth, wears glasses only very intermittently, and is just vibrant. Now she's in her 90s, but she does these trapeze acts, and her children, they're putting their hands over their eyes, and they frequently have said to me, Deb, can you help us with her? And I said, I do. All the time. I tell her how fabulous it is that she does this, and that she's got a spotter there, but you can't, she's an indomitable spirit, and that's why she's lived as long as she has.
Yeah.
And that's people's joy coming through, and her children are actually really collecting her legacy at this point in time.
Nice.
Which is beautiful. So your friend, client, no doubt is going to have years added to her life because of the project that you're doing with her.
I think so too, because when I told her, let's do this and let's get this out to people, she was like, oh, I don't have that much time left. And I said, well, I need you to hang around for a bit longer, right? So come on, give me another, 10 years? And she's like, that long? And I said, oh, come on, 10 years, triple digits. You got to do that.
That's right. Live to your weight is what I say.
I like that. Live to your weight, people.
That's right. So in the last few minutes, I can't believe it. In the last few minutes that we have here, what would you like for everybody to know?
I would love us to do a little exercise for those who are not driving, and just maybe be this courageous and close our eyes and breathe and tune into this precious moment. And I suggest, if you like, you could repeat this little mantra inside of you. A mantra is just an affirmation. It's an incantation.
Yes.
So every time you breathe in, you say, I know I am breathing in. And when you breathe out, you say, I know I am breathing out.
Oh.
The next time you breathe in, you say, my body and mind are calm. As you exhale, I smile. As you breathe in, I know this is the present moment. And as you breathe out, I know this is a precious moment. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in. I know I am breathing in. Exhale, I know I am breathing out. Inhale, my body and mind are calm. Exhale, I smile. Inhale, I know this is the present moment. And exhale, I know this is a precious moment. Now recall a happy moment in your past or your future.
90 seconds.
And be well.
I love it. And I absolutely love you. You're wonderful. Thank you for today.
Love you too. Thank you for having me.
It's fabulous. Okay, hang with me for a second here. All right, friends, this is Doctors Martina and Carlin signing out for now, and we will see you next time. So, all right, hang on there.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, so there they go, and there we go. Peace out, friends.